Andy, welcome to the Big Lad Podcast. How are we?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we last saw each other? I think it's 2021 now. It's flown by.
Well, that's a positive, hopefully, isn't it? When you've
yeah.
the time, I suppose. I'll take that as a quiet compliment, but yeah, no, it's a good thing, mate. It is a good thing. But
yeah, it is a very good thing. Yeah, well, put it this way, since we last saw each other, I've done a half marathon and a triathlon since...
You're kidding me?
No, I did that towards the back end of last year.
I'm not surprised, by the way. I'm just impressed.
yeah, because I've got like the knee of an 80-year-old man.
Very good. What was the half? A trail? A road? Flat?
Oh,
really?
It was around a track, Alton Park racetrack. So it was five laps of that.
I know that, actually. That's
which is a hilly track.
Yeah, I've been around it, actually. Someone bought me a driving experience for my birthday a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I've done the same, yeah.
A big birthday a couple of years ago. But yeah, they bought me an experience there. So I've driven I went round in a couple of cool cars, yeah.
That was the thing. So I knew what it was like turning up, and I was like, oh, this is going to be horrible. But yeah, I managed to get under 2 hours, which was my aim.
Outstanding, mate. Well, for a hilly half, that's
really 16
good.
and a half stone as well. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of weight to be dragging around 13 miles.
Yeah, you tell me. No chance. That's too much.
I said that after my first half.
Yeah.
And then it just gets a bit out of control if you carry on jogging. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big time commitment, that one. To be honest, I didn't really train for the first one. So if I was to do anything again, I'd have to properly train for it.
Yeah, maybe that's why you say you don't want to do it if you've not trained as much. But
potentially,
we ended up doing it, and then I did it with a couple of mates, and then I don't know. I always enjoyed sort of jogging anyway. I find it helps me quite a lot actually, stress wise. Yeah. I'm a different person, not completely, but I feel a lot happier when I run. I just enjoy doing it. So we ended up. I go out a couple of times with some mates, go out a couple of times on my own. And then before you know it, you're running biggish runs without really feeling overtired. And then that conversation starts to happen where we did a half marathon. And one of my mates is like, you've always got someone, haven't you, in your friend group who's a bit, he just always pushes things and always wants to do that a little bit more. He said, well, if we do this half, we could run to it and we could run back. And if we do that, that's about 21 miles. So I did say yes. I felt pretty good at the time. I said yes. I mean, we did it and I was absolutely finished. I was ended at the end of it. I remember getting back home and my wife saying, you better hurry up. You've got to go and collect Amber from a party down the road. So I had to rush around. All I wanted to do was sit down and sleep for a couple of hours. But then the marathon chat starts happening then, and then you sign up for one and then it just gets a bit silly. Yeah,
I was absolutely wrote off after that half marathon. I cramped up through the finish line. It wasn't great.
If you've not trained for it, to complete a half marathon is amazing. So
yeah, it felt good. Thanks, fun. I think we've skipped a little bit. Would you like to give yourself like a quick introduction? Because obviously I said I've not seen you for a while, and people are probably wondering why. So do you want to give yourself a quick introduction of what you do, Andy?
So I'm a physio. I'm based out of a clinic now over in Total Fitness in Wilmslow, and that's how we ended up meeting a while ago. Background in football, still do bits and pieces in football. Had an idea. I got contacted by a lad when I left my last place, a lad at another football club who asked me to rehab him. I needed a facility. This facility is absolutely outstanding. It's on my Instagram. I think there's a post on my Instagram from... I'm not very good on social media, by the way. If I'm busy, I just go and post. There is a video of the facility on there. It's amazing. I've been a member of the gym for 12, 13 years. And the people that run the clinic in here, I knew them from years ago of being in football, and we bumped into each other and started having a conversation. I just said, listen, I've got a bit of an idea where I think I could potentially add a bit of value to your clinic, and it gives me something potentially that I'd really enjoy doing. So I came with an agreement to be based out of here, and a rehab footy players in the main, a lot of athletes from different sports, skiers, snowboarders, motocross riders, runners, any of the above, anyone, general public, really not bother me at all, of all levels, and try and hopefully give them elite level care in places where maybe they weren't able to access that kind of level before. So outside of elite sport, it's the ability to get someone a scan quite quickly. A lot of people don't realise it's actually quite simple and straightforward to refer. Like, it'll take months. Like, well, actually, no, if you come in and see me today at 5 to 10 in the morning, I could potentially have you scanned at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'll have your result back in the morning. So, just providing elite level service, hopefully a little bit of elite level decision making, treatment and rehab as well. And I've done that since I left football. I do work quite lengthy hours when I have to. It doesn't bother me at all. But I'm one of those really annoying, lucky people. I really enjoy what I do, so it doesn't even seem like work to me most of the time, to be honest. Yeah,
that's a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a brief summary of what I do, but that's the instruction anyway. Is that all right?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. But I usually give the shout outs towards the back end of the podcast, but I'll do it now because obviously I've been one of your clients and I can vouch for that elite level of service. And like I say, I've gone on to play football and do half marathons and triathlons after seeing you, and that's without having the operation as well. So, I mean, I don't know whether my knees got any better since, but my legs have definitely got stronger to cope with the injuries that I've actually got.
Yeah, and saves you the operation, it's worth it.
Yeah, and like I say, I hope I don't have to come over to Winslow anytime soon. But if I ever do, it'll be coming to you for sure.
No, thank you, mate. Well, fingers crossed we won't be seeing each other anytime soon.
Hopefully not, yeah. Hopefully it's just in a pub or something like that, bump into you in Manchester.
I'm fine with that, no problem.
So we'll roll it back to the very start then. So how did you actually get into physio in the first place? Like, what was your entry point? Well,
so I went about it in a bit of a different way, really. I did always want to be a physio when I was a kid at school. And I went to a careers evening at the high school and met this physio, and she told me that unless I was going to get straight A's in my GCSEs, I wasn't going to be a physio. I wasn't going to be bright enough, basically. So that was a bit of a knock, I'll be honest, because I was estimated all A's and B's, and she told me if I wasn't going to get straight A's, I wasn't going to be a physio. So I was like, all right, well, I don't really know what else I'm going to do. To be honest, I don't know what I'm going to do. I ended up looking down the sports science route, and this was as a 15, 16-year-old kid, and I took her word as being the truth and thought I wasn't going to be bright enough to do it. So I ended up doing cut a long story short, went down, I did a sports science degree, specialised in exercise physiology at Sheffield Hallam. Did that for 3 years, but soon after starting that, you come across people in the physio degree at the same campus and you start chatting to them and you're like, hang on a minute. I did all right compared to you as well at exams. Yeah. And I started looking at it straight away. And there was a couple of guys on the sports science degree that were chatting about it then as well. One of the girls as well. And a few of us ended up then going on doing a physio degree. So I did a physio degree. Had to do that part-time. Obviously, financially, I had to work. Yeah. So I did a part-time physio degree at Salford University doing 4 years. And then I did my master's. A few years after that, started my master's at Manchester Met in musculoskeletal physio. So I finished that down there about 10 years ago. That's pretty much it. I was sort of that was the physio thing, and while I was trying to get onto a physio degree, I was pestering people for bits of experience, doing all sorts. So I did voluntary work at loads of different levels and different sports, just to get some experience just to show people, to try and get onto a physio degree, to show people that I was serious about wanting to do it. So yeah, it was a long-winded way around.
Prompted it in the first place, though? What was it that sort of inspired you to be a physio? Like when you were 15, 16, was there someone that you knew? Or
well, I think I always wanted to work in sport as well. I think the thought of working based at a desk 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, it didn't terrify me. I think the idea just bored me to tears, to be totally honest. I just knew it wasn't for me.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's not a criticism of anyone else that does that. I personally don't think I could have done that kind of role and given it everything I could and been genuine about really enjoying it. I've always sort of enjoyed the biology side of it and the anatomy side of it. Yeah. I think from a sort of soft perspective, there's an element of, we go into doing what we do for a living. Every physio goes into it because they care about people and they want to try and help. And there's another element where it's always a challenge as well. So, very few of our patients, very few are ever completely similar. They always have different elements to whatever might be going on. Yep. And our job is about trying to develop a relationship of trust with that individual to help them with whatever that issue might be. And I think I always, we are a very caring profession. I always want to try and help people with whatever it is. If I can help someone, I will always help them. If I have someone who comes in and they talk to me about the knee and then they go off on a tangent and start talking about their ankle or the foot, I'll tell them, just make sure if we've got time at the end of this, just give me a bit of information. If I can help you with that, I will do. And I think that's probably how most of us in our profession go into it, I would guess. But I've just always had an interest in that.
Yeah, it's very similar. I've spoke to a nurse on the podcast, and I guess it's a very similar sort of profession, but in a different way. Obviously, you're caring for someone in a different way. Someone might be ill, whereas you're dealing with injuries. And like you say, the body's that complex that there can be that many different types of injuries. So I guess no injury is going to be the same, even if it's a very similar injury to what someone else may have had.
Yeah. No, they are. That how it's come about. How they've done it. So what's caused it? Are there any underlying conditions? Have they got any previous issues there as well that might have had those problems? Is there any sort of family history of it? Are there any biomechanical factors at play? Is it just the fact that they've been pushed over, or have they been hit by a dog, or have they been taken out by someone on a football pitch? So there are loads of different things, and that's the cool thing about what I do. Really, I don't see really anyone that's exactly the same, and I'm really lucky in this line of work now. The people that come and see me want to come and see me, so it makes it so much easier to deal with. And I really enjoy it. I don't dread going to work at all.
That's an absolute bonus. It's what people sort of strive for, isn't it? They're not seeing it as work and just genuinely enjoying what you do. Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the things about not being in professional sport is you don't follow a timetable, you don't follow a schedule, because that's quite draining at times. And it's not about not working weekends or any of that sort of stuff. It's just having a bit of freedom to dictate your own working week. And, if you want to go to your mate's wedding, you can go to your mate's wedding, because that's not an option in professional sport. I'll still work weekend. For the last few weeks, I've got a young player I'm looking after at the moment, and I'll come in on a Saturday morning for him for a couple of hours. No problem to help him. I will. I think
I saw that. Was it Jamie Carragher's son?
No.
I've seen that in your story.
That was on an Insta post about James. No, it's a different player. But I don't post that much on about people I work with. We just had a bit of time to do that, and I was filming James for something totally separate, actually. And then we just said, we'll throw it on Instagram afterwards. But I come in on a Saturday morning for him for a couple of hours. I live 5 minutes from the facility, so it's no bother for me at all. As long as it sort of works within a time frame that doesn't affect my life back at home. Yeah, I work whatever it needs to be. I've stayed a couple of nights a week late for a player at the moment, where I get him in late on at night. My clinic usually shuts at 8, and I'm staying an hour and a half for him 2 nights a week at this moment in time as well to sort of help him with a couple of things. So. Yeah, I work long hours, but it's not following someone else's schedule anymore, that's really liberating and really nice.
Oh, I can imagine not having to, like you said before, about the whole 9 to 5 sitting at a desk. You're sort of locked into those hours where you've got that flexibility to, as you say, work when you want. Yeah,
I've got 2 little girls as well. The one's not so little anymore. She's 13 now, but the other one's 8 years of age, and just doing the little things like the assemblies and the school drop-offs and the school pickups at times. I haven't had that for quite a lot.
Makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Life. And it is nice, yeah, it is. It's worth. You can't put a value on that. You can't put a financial value on that. Obviously, I've got a mortgage to pay, so I still have to work. But it's nice every now and then, knocking my clinic on the head at 2:30, 3 o'clock, and going round the corner to pick my daughter up from school and taking her for a coffee and a piece of cake or something. She eats more than I do, my 8-year-old. That's some doing, by the way.
Thank you very much for watching part 1 of the podcast. If you'd like to watch part 2, click here. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you enjoyed it, drop it a like below. Thanks.